Ayubowan, very good afternoon, and you are warmly welcome to the inauguration of Ruby Jubilee exhibition and open day of Arthur C Clarke Institute for Modern Technologies. So before we begin today's celebration, I would like to bring you back where it all began with the vision of man who inspired the world to look beyond the stars, Sir Arthur C Clarke. One of the greatest visionaries and scientists of our time believed Sri Lanka to be his home. In 1945, Arthur C Clarke proposed in the Wireless World Journal that 3 satellites placed in a geostationary orbit could replay radio and TV signals worldwide. This idea became the foundation of today's communication satellite systems. In recognition of this pioneering work, he received Marconi International Fellowship Award in 1982. Using the prize money he received as initial source of funding, the Arthur C Clarke Center for Modern Technologies was established in 1984, and it was renamed in 1994 as Arthur C Clarke Institute for Modern Technologies. And today, we proudly celebrate 40 years of excellence, 4 decades of research, innovation, and contribution to the modern technology. So today, in behalf of Arthur C Clarke Institute, it's my great pleasure to welcome you all. Without taking much time, to begin with today's celebration, I have honor in inviting following dignitaries to lighten the traditional oil lamp. Honorable Minister, Professor Krishanta Abesena, Minister of Science and Technology, Mr. Mohammed Namavi, Secretary to the Ministry of Science and Technology, Dr. Ajit Pascual, Senior Lecturer in the Department of Electronic and Telecommunication Engineering at University of Moratuwa, Professor Chandana Jayaratne, Chairman of Arthur C Clarke Institute, Mrs. Kumari Megahakotuwa, Director General and CEO of Arthur C Clarke Institute, Mr. Kavindra Jayawardena, Deputy Director General, Technical Operations, Mrs. Chaturi Seneviratne, Ministry of Finance, representing Board of Governors, Professor Dhammika Tantrigoda, representing past Chairman of ACCIMT, and Mrs. GST Jayarani, representing all the staff of ACCIMT, and Dr. Malavi Patirana, representing all the institute under the purview of Ministry of Science and Technology, and 2 students representing school category and university category at the ACCIMT exhibition. The invitation is for you. So let us take a moment to show respect and love for our motherland. So please kindly stand for the national anthem.
Sri Lanka Mata, Appa Sri Lanka, Namo, 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 Namo Mata. Sundara Siri Barini, Surandi Ati Sogamana Lanka. Ranya Dhanaya Nekamal Palaguru Piri Jaya Bhumiya Ranya. Apahata Sapa Siri Sata Sadhana, Jeevanaye Mata. Viliganu Mena Apabhakti Puja, Namo Namo Mata. Appa Sri Lanka, Namo Namo, Namo Namo Mata. Obave Apavidya, Obamaya Apasatya, Obave Apashanti, Apahada Tulabhanti, Oba Apa Aloke, Apadi Anuprani, Oba Apa Jeevanave, Apa Muktiya Obave, Nava Jeevana Demini, Nitina Apa Kubudu Karan Mata. Jnana Veera Vadava Minaragena Yanu Mena Jaya Mudikara. Ekamavaka Dedaru Kalabadina, Yamu Yamu Vinopama. Prema Vada Samaveda Durala, Namo Namo Mata. Appa Sri Lanka, Namo Namo, Namo Namo Mata.
Thank you all. Now, to formally welcome you on this occasion, let me invite Professor Chandana Jayaratne, Chairman of ACCIMT. Sir, this invitation is for you to welcome.
Venerable members of the Mahasangha, Honorable Minister, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon to all of you. It is with immense pride and heartfelt joy that I, as the Chairman of the Arthur C Clarke Institute for Modern Technologies, warmly welcome you to this inaugural ceremony of our Ruby Jubilee celebrations, making 40 remarkable years of scientific and technological excellence. At the outset, we are deeply honored by the presence of the Venerable Homagama Dhammananda Thero, the Vice Chancellor of the Buddhist and Pali University of Sri Lanka. Venerable Sir, we are most grateful for your presence with us today. It gives me great pleasure to extend a very warm welcome to our chief guest, Honorable Professor Krishanta Abesena, Minister of Science and Technology. Sir, your presence here signifies the government's continued commitment to fostering innovation and advancing the frontiers of science and technology in Sri Lanka. We are privileged to have you with us on this significant milestone in the Institute's journey. I also take this opportunity to warmly welcome Mr. Y.L. Muhammad Nawawi, Secretary to the Ministry of Science and Technology, whose leadership and unwavering support have greatly contributed to the progress and success of this institution. A very special welcome is extended to members of the Board of Governors of Arthur C Clarke Institute, whose wisdom, direction, and encouragement continue to guide the Institute towards achieving its vision. I am also pleased to welcome our Director General, Mrs. M.M.G. Kumari Megahakotua, whose commitment and dynamic leadership have been instrumental in steering the Institute through new avenues of growth and excellence. We are honored to have with us today distinguished heads of institutes under the Ministry of Science and Technology, as well as representatives of public and private sector organizations whose collaboration and partnership strengthen our nation's scientific ecosystem. A heartfelt welcome also goes to our past chairman and past director generals of the Arthur C Clarke Institute. Your pioneering efforts, vision, and leadership over the years laid the strong foundation upon which this institute proudly stands today. To our past employees who have each played an important role in shaping the legacy and reputation of this great institution, we are delighted to have you back with us as part of this celebration. To the current staff of the Institute, whose dedication, innovation, and teamwork continue to drive the mission of the Arthur C Clarke Institute forward, I extend my sincere appreciation and warmest welcome. And finally, to our trainees, the young minds who represent the next generation of scientists, engineers, and innovators, welcome. May this inspire you to reach higher, dream bigger, and continue the proud legacy of Sir Arthur C Clarke, whose visionary spirit remains at the heart of our work. Let me explain something about the beginning already mentioned a bit. Sir Arthur C Clarke is one of the world's greatest innovators. For example, he mentioned about artificial intelligence will come to the world in 2020, and it came in 2022. So like that. So, and it was he who contributed his Marconi Award prize money to initiate and his vision at that time, that he thought that Sri Lanka should have such an institute for modern technologies. So he contributed his award money, and the institute was started. And to honor him, the government has named this institute after his name. Today, the ACCIMT stands as one of the Sri Lanka's leading centers for innovation and promotion of modern technologies, with a mission to enhance national technological capabilities through research, innovation, training, and international collaboration. I repeat, research, innovation, training, and international collaborations. We also train large number of students from private sector, universities, and also technical colleges. Whether it is private or state, we train around 100 of them annually, because this is the only place where they can get the electronic training for period, for 6 months training period. The Institute's work spans key areas such as, these are the areas given by Act of Parliament to us with the mandate to develop: electronics, microelectronics, new materials, communications, information technology, photonics, robotics, astronomy, and space technologies, providing a pivotal role in research and development, and technical support to both the public and private sectors. As the Institute's mark 40 years of excellence, it continues to uphold Sir Arthur C Clarke's vision by driving scientific advancement and technological progress in Sri Lanka. As we gather to commemorate 40 years of excellence, we not only celebrate our past achievements, but also reaffirm our commitment to the future. future where science and technology continue to uplift lives, strengthen our nation, and inspire progress. Some of the Accimt mega projects that are in pipeline for the future are constructing a rocket launching pad in Sri Lanka's southern part with least gravity in the world to launch satellites, a project that will earn half the revenue of Sri Lanka in 5 years, and we already got a business partner as well. And establishing a Chinese-funded high-end electronic repair lab to repair electronic circuits of ships passing Sri Lanka. It's also from a Chinese fund, and then public-private partnership project to construct and sell humanoid robots. So these are few of what we are going to do in future, and it will be giving a lot of income to the institute as well as to the country. On behalf of the Board of Governors, the Director General, and the entire Arthur C Clarke Institute family, I once again extend my warmest welcome and deepest gratitude to all of you for being part of this historic celebration. Thank you. And may this Ruby Jubilee inspire us all to continue exploring the frontiers of knowledge and innovation. I conclude my speech by quoting something Sir Arthur C Clarke always said. I quote, the only way to discover the limits of the possible is to go beyond them into the impossible, unquote. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We now pause to honor the visionary whose imagination and intellect inspired generation of scientists and innovators, Sir Arthur C Clarke, whose name this institute proudly bears. His lifelong belief, human progress through science and technology continues to guide our mission here at Accimt. We now present a short video in honor of Sir Arthur C Clarke.
He imagined satellites circling the Earth long before they became reality.
I always say that I'm not the father of communication satellites, but the godfather. The real fathers are the engineers who created the hardware, particularly John Pierce and Harold Rosen, who've both been here to receive an Arthur Clarke Award. If I hadn't put forward the idea in 1945 in Wireless World, probably a dozen people would have done so within the next year or so. So I think I may have advanced the cause of communication satellites by about 15 minutes. But in our modern life, we tend to lose contact with nature, and one of the attractions of Sri Lanka to me is that here I can be in touch with wildlife.
He wrote of worlds beyond our own, inspiring generations to explore, to create, to dream. Years ago, his vision took root not just in the pages of science fiction, but in the halls of learning he helped build. Sir Arthur C Clarke taught us that imagination is the first step toward invention, which leads to great innovations. And that the future belongs to those who dare to think differently. Today, as we celebrate 40 years of his legacy, we honour a mind that reached for the stars and brought the universe a little closer to us all. Sir Arthur C Clarke, a visionary, a dreamer, a founder of futures.
to pay tribute to Sir Arthur C Clarke, may I now respectfully invite our chief guest, Honourable Minister, Science and Technology, Professor Krishanta Abesena, and Secretary to the Ministry of Science and Technology, Mr. Mohammed Nawawi, accompanied by Professor Chandana Jayaratne, Chairman of Arthur C Clarke Institute, and Mrs. Kumari Megahakotua, Director General and CEO, to place a floral tribute commemorating Sir Arthur C Clarke. Thank you, distinguished invitees. Please remain standing. Let us now observe 2 minutes of silence in honor of late Sir Arthur C Clarke, deceased employees of Accimt and heroes of our nation who dedicated their lives for the peace and unity. Thank you all. To bless today's proceedings and to invoke goodwill, we now present a puja dance, a traditional offering through movement and rhythm, performed in honor of this special occasion.
අත විහිද යන ජය නාද මුහඳ අස අසා නිර්ත කරනත මෙරඟ පසිනුව ආයුබෝවන් ආවඩා
Thank you all. We now invite our keynote speaker on this momentum occasion. Dr. Ajit Pascual is indeed the most fitting choice to deliver the keynote address at this year's Accimt Open Day. He is a distinguished academic, an accomplished entrepreneur, and respected advisor to national agencies at the highest level. Dr. Pascual serves as a senior lecturer in the Department of Electronic and Telecommunication Engineering at the University of Moratuwa. He obtained his Bachelor of Science and Engineering in Electronic and Telecommunication Engineering from the University of Moratuwa, followed his Master of Engineering and PhD in Computer Vision from the University of Tokyo. Throughout his career, Dr. Pascual has established himself as a leading researcher and educator, and beyond academia, Dr. Pascual has made remarkable contribution to technology commercialization and the electronic export industry in Sri Lanka. On this special occasion, Dr. Pascual brings with him deep insight into how research and innovation in electronics and ICT can be transformed into tangible, real-world impact, perfectly aligning with ACCIMT mission of advancing modern technologies for national development. Dear sir, the invitation is for you to deliver the keynote speak.
Good afternoon to everyone. First of all, let me thank the organizers for inviting me in this very special occasion to deliver the keynote. Thank you very much for that. So I was wondering for a topic as such, and the selected topic, as you can see, actually is a bit longer. So we are talking about the modern technologies, Arthur C Clarke Institute for Modern Technologies. I thought this is probably the most fitting in that scenario, because whatever the technologies that we are discussing, whatever the technologies that might actually be created in the future, all these technologies ultimately come to public, to you and me and to all others, in the form of products and services. And that is actually what we are trying to actually do, not only develop technologies, but ultimately pass the benefit to the public and the industry by way of products. So in that process, there are a lot of, particularly in Sri Lanka, I would say some misconceptions, misguidance, and we'll see why we have not been able to achieve certain things unlike other countries in the same region and also the worldwide. I was deeply impressed by Chairman's vision about this rocket launching pad in Sri Lanka, because these are kind of hugely inspiring for the young generation. Just like our neighboring country, when they launch rockets, it inspires the entire nation. It might be a far-fetched dream, but this is something truly remarkable if you can actually get that to Sri Lanka. But in the meantime, I think there are a lot of things for us to do in the form of developing technologies and also pass that technology to the industry and to the public. So let me start with something that we have technology glitches, I guess. Okay. Okay. So this is something I'm sure that everybody actually has seen and been experienced with. Going to some place and actually buying a consumer appliance that is needed for home, buying a washing machine or buying a refrigerator or microwave oven. I think every one of us actually has experienced that one. So it's going to some place and actually buying that. If you have the money, you can actually do that very easily. So what you see, So what you see in the bottom actually is what resonates with us, some of the engineers here and some of the technical officers or technologists. That is the development process. You are actually doing some development and two different segments. Consumers, all of us are consumers. And whereas what you see on the bottom actually reflect what is being done actually at the Clarke, Arthur C Clarke Institute for Modern Technologies. And if you take the process that the time and the process that takes from this development and going to the shelf of a shop where you can actually buy that is a very long and tedious process. And that is not something that many of us, actually, I would say the majority of people do not really understand how difficult that process is. And as a result of non-understanding, there are a lot of issues. And the primary reason for basically what we have not actually seen the Sri Lanka in a developed state as such is because of this misunderstanding of certain things, which we will try to actually correct. And that long process is something like this Valpalama, like crossing, because not, let's say this is maybe a bit in good condition, but something like a very bad state like bridge, you are trying to actually cross, not everybody is able to cross it, because you might actually need to go back to the drawing board and try crossing again. So you need a lot of effort to basically come to this place, and most importantly, you need patience. So what we see in Sri Lanka is most of the time is impatience. Like we want to see results quickly. And if you are investing today, we expect the results by end of the year, or maybe in a month or so. And if the investment actually is not returning anything, then the audit query comes why this public money actually is spent and is not giving the results. So that is actually one of the reasons. So when we are following the financial regulations to the letter, okay, and we want to account for public accountability, basically like every rupee cent actually should be accountable. But then again, these processes, we never, like no one actually really do not know how much time has been taken from this stage to go to that stage. And that is not visible to 99.99% of the population. It's only visible to those who are actually going through that process. And if we as a country want to really make sure that we are a country that develops products, develops brands, and then we need to appreciate the time and effort that this process actually takes. And unless we change our mindset in facilitating that particular role, for the next 25 years also, we will not actually see any brands coming out of Sri Lanka. So I hope that this mindset actually needs change, and we will actually begin to see some of these things. So that patience, when you talk about that patience, had we had that patience of seeing this thing through, we would have already seen multiple product manufacturers in Sri Lanka. Okay, we have not. Okay, and multiple products, and also like anybody who is having ideas should be able to actually go to some place and get his idea to be realized in certain ways, maybe government agencies or maybe private sector. Like, and if you see, like none of these things are actually in Sri Lanka. I'm generalizing a bit. There could be certain exceptions, but this is the sad story that we are actually seeing in Sri Lanka. So what can we do actually at the universities and research institutes and also at the government agencies and the higher level, the government policy? What can be done to basically change this mindset? And so what we need is basically solutions, okay? Solutions that we like for the problems that are faced by society. When I say society, maybe the industry or maybe the public, general public, and which technology can provide. And here is a special case where the Clarke Center is for modern technologies. Can we make use of this technology to provide a benefit to the society in the form of maybe a product or a service so that we can actually improve their quality of living? So that's one of our major objective. And if you look at talk on patients, the primary is like how do we really identify? So we have limited resources. We know every organization has limited resources. So where do you spend that resources? Financial resources, something that we have to extremely be careful in spending, and that requires a lot of patience and a lot of careful study of identifying a real problem that where the solutions are badly needed, and not only actually needed, it is needed at the right time. We can't spend 10 years, 20 years developing that solution. It has to be come at a certain pace and certain time. So once you identify those real problems, then becomes actually the actual innovation. So going forward, so identifying problem where the technology can actually give you a good solution, and ultimately basically contributing to the Sri Lankan economy. Not only improving the quality of living standards, and also basically overall export economy. And that process of taking a product to the market, or from idea to the market, as I said, is a very long, tedious process, which unfortunately, as I said, many, even at the universities, even in the private sector, people don't really understand and appreciate. So this is, we already saw, identifying a real problem actually is what really leads to innovation. And if you look at the problems, as I said, how do we allocate our resources, scarce resources, to which problem solve? Because we always see multiple problems being presented to the to different agencies. Okay, I need a solution for this one. How do we select? And if you really look at the problems actually broadly fall under two categories. One actually is where the problem actually is very well defined specifications. And the second set actually is where things are undefined. These are not very clear. And so defined specifications are where you see the already existing products, example, and where we are actually looking to improve. A good example I always highlight is the development of the automobile. When the Volkswagen and the Toyota actually came out in 1930s or 40s, at that time the dominating forces were basically in US and in Germany. And had the inventors of those two automobile companies thought that, okay, my God, there is already existing major players, we will not have any chance to develop a new automobile, we would not actually see Toyota and Volkswagen today. And these two are the number one and number two automakers in the world. These two, and they exchange places every year sometimes. So what I'm actually going to say is basically the innovation need not be from the scratch as such. And most of the innovation actually starts from basically looking at existing products and seeing how we can actually improve that, maybe very cost-effective way of actually doing the same thing, or different adding features so that actually it makes them more useful. And so we, most of the time, Sri Lanka unfortunately try to actually focus on doing everything from scratch. And not looking at what can we do with basically improving things as such. Whereas the second one, you'd see that where the undefined things, you don't see any reference in the market. Sorry. Yeah, you don't see any references in the market. In that case, something is a greenfield innovation, greenfield product, where the innovators actually has the responsibility to convince people, okay, this is something that you need. And there's extra marketing that is required. But whereas the first one, product is already there is no justification required. The only thing that you need is basically differentiation. Okay? How do you differentiate automobile A versus automobile B, or product A versus product B? Same category. Okay? And we have enough space in the world to basically multiple brands to exist. So moving forward, the market segments actually, you look at it like because this is what we are currently actually in the space of this particular institute's scope. We talk about electronics and telecommunication and space technology, and all these sectors are potential sectors. So these sectors already have numerous products, and pretty much like most of their problems have been addressed. But these problems or these products or services that already addressing these issues might not be very optimal as such. So there is plenty of space for us to actually make improvements, or plenty of space to basically look at how certain things can be developed in Sri Lanka. Probably not everything actually should be developed in Sri Lanka as such, but is there a like a commercial viability in actually developing something and making exports? So this is. So when we are looking for problems, again, as I said, like as a private sector company or basically as a government agency facilitating the development, we should be looking at what exactly that we should be doing. Like should we look at the B2C or what you call business to consumer electronics product, or whether it's something like an industry product that we should develop. And so this is basically a business to consumer. I just want to highlight, just to inspire people, like a little bit of inconvenience, a personal problem that somebody actually has faced. So this is, I mean, a couple of days back, actually, I found this news item, and non-native English speaker. He wanted to actually improve his English. So what did he do? He basically developed a mobile app. Okay, mobile app, which allows him to basically improve his own English. And then he started actually making that available to other friends and other like people who have the same problem. I mean, majority of the world people are non-native English speakers. So in 2 years' time, sorry. I don't know. Technology is going faster than me. I'm sorry about. I'm sorry, this is, how do I actually get this? It's not actually, okay. So this is basically just to inspire, like a personal problem can be a starting point for innovation. And this is a classic example of somebody actually who did that, and within 2 years, and his annual recurrent revenue is $2 million or $6 million in just 2 years. So this is for any of these school kids and everybody who's listening, that a personal problem can be a source of innovation and that you might be addressing something that everybody needs. And similarly, like particularly for this institute, it could be the B2B or like the industry problems. Can we address, to what extent can we address the industry problems as such? And could be, as I said, existing product might be having certain deficiencies, so can we produce that locally in a cost-effective manner? So one of the biggest things that again I have seen in practice for the last 10 years or so is not identifying the right product to build. And when somebody actually comes with a problem and say, okay, I need a solution, and you need to actually ask or basically investigate deeply whether that problem actually is really a real problem as such, which we call product validation or idea validation. And if that product or that problem actually is not something that is commonly experienced by many people, then there is no point actually building something like that, and no point in wasting our resources, our financial resources that is very limited. And many a time, and you will see hundreds of products being actually wasted or development wasted efforts because the product that you are building actually is either not suitable or is not cost effective, and a lot of other reasons. Okay, because the examination or careful study has not been done at the beginning of the product development to really understand whether this is the right place to actually invest. And similarly, we talk about the solution validation as well, which is again something that a lot of people actually neglect or completely ignore, I would say. That a problem can have multiple solutions. So we need to ask the potential customers who are affected by the problem, like whether the solution that we are coming up with is acceptable to them as such. And if the solution is not acceptable, then there is no point actually developing that as well. Okay? And only if it is acceptable, then you should actually go ahead and basically develop that product to the level. But then again, there are multiple other factors that should come into the picture before you take the decision to basically go ahead and developing. And one critical part actually is, will the customer, how much the customer will be paying for this one. And if you're targeting 50,000 rupees and the customer is expecting only 10,000 rupees to buy that product, and you're not going to make money out of it. And also the time, how much time do we need to go through this process? As I said, the entire product development process is not overnight. Okay? It takes 2 years, 3 years, or maybe even 10 years, depending on the complexity of the product. So we need to look at a lot of things. I mean, all this initial study is required so that we will not actually make mistakes, and we'll make minimum amount of mistakes. Failures are obviously there, but we should actually not actually invest money in unproductive actually efforts. So just to be to give you an idea of the actual development process, we are talking about electronics and telecommunication. It's important to get an idea about the total product development cycle. Now, as you can see, it's a very long process. So what we buy something like this, or your laptop or smartphone, has gone through this entire process. And what we do at the universities, what we do at the research institutes, is only these few things, maybe the second or third stage. To bring the product to the shelf, to the shop shelf, you have to go through this entire process. And unfortunately, not many understand this. And this is not something that the government can do. This is not something that the government agencies can do. This is only something that the private sector can do, or maybe state-owned enterprises can do. And because it's a long and a tedious process. And you should have a definite a market already identified before you go to this long process. And that's why many companies or many product efforts actually fail, because this process is longer, and by the time the product is launched, either the need for that product actually is no longer there, or another company actually might have already introduced the product in the market. Okay? So a lot of startups, for example, actually fail. There's something called startup value at death, is simply because they are unable to take this burden or cash burning. And by the time the product actually comes, the startup actually has burned the money, and there is no way to actually come out. So just try to understand this entire process, and this is something that the government policymakers also need to understand. So when you invest on a product development, you cannot actually get that returns in 1 or 2 years. It could be 3-4 years. And so the asking questions or asking the progress need to be looked at in that proactive or positive way, that understanding this process actually is not something that can be done overnight. So other question actually a lot of people actually ask is, how can we compete with China? How can we compete with other nations in product development? Or do we have the manufacturing facilities in Sri Lanka when we do these developments? Now you'll be surprised to look at certain things. So this is, if you know about electronics, and these are some of the world famous electronic manufacturing services companies in Taiwan called Foxconn. And they do the assembly of all the major products that you see, your Apple iPhone or Microsoft equipment, and all Xboxes. All those things are basically done in Taiwan in major manufacturing assembly facilities like this. And what you see here, so this, sure which it's not responding. Am I pointing to the right place? Where is the forward one? It's not working. Oh yeah, okay. So what you see here is a facility in Sri Lanka. It is in Badalgama, in close to Negombo, exact replica of what you have seen in Foxconn. And this is basically again Swiss-based company. There are 2 Swiss-based companies and 1 Japanese-based companies. So whatever that can be done in Taiwan, in terms of electronics development or product development, can be easily done here as well. So if you have not actually visited this place, I strongly advise, particularly the policymakers, to go there and see what can be done in Sri Lanka as such. And in electronics and communication, one thing that you need to understand is that the design companies will never have this facility. These are hugely capital intensive requirement. And design companies do the development. If you say Apple, it says designed in Cupertino in US and assembled in China or Taiwan or whatever. Okay, that's the typical development process for products in all over the world in case of electronics. Products ultimately get manufactured here, but design can be done by any company. So this is in Sri Lanka, and as I said, I cordially invite the policymakers and the engineers. If you are not visited, please visit this place, and you will be amazed to see like this facility actually exists in Sri Lanka. So some examples to show you that certain products actually can be done, certain things that, as I said, replacement or cost-effective development can be in Sri Lanka is something that I always actually highlight. This is the railway, the gate controllers that have been actually done by the University of Moratuwa in association with a private sector party and for the railway, 200 gates. And so this has been in operation for not more than 5 years now, and without any failures. And there was a lot of actually trying to block this process. And what I want to actually highlight is the collaboration between the university and a private sector party, because this was a billion rupee investment, and a government agency actually cannot actually invest that much. So private sector party actually has to invest. And the most important part is when you develop a product, you need to actually look at the full life cycle. Who is going to maintain? And that maintenance cannot be done by a private sector party as such. I was involved in 2 major projects, like in Southern Expressway, the design and installation of the CCTV system. Implemented in 2011, government does not understand the importance of maintenance, and they have not signed the maintenance agreement, but still they are functioning because the products were good, because now it's almost like 14 years without any maintenance agreement. So we need to really understand, if you are supporting something, don't look at just the development part. There's a whole life beyond that point. And if you do not actually support that, the maintenance part, and it's not something that the government actually can do, it's only can be done by the private sector. So what the government actually can do is facilitation. And there are a lot of ways that we can actually facilitate, like in terms of expertise, in terms of the special equipment that many private sector companies do not have, because of the capital, lack of capital. So these type of thing can be easily done in Sri Lanka. So it's a billion rupee, multi-billion rupee saving for Sri Lanka. Unfortunately, this was blocked, and the second round was denied from them by changing certain clauses. So again, basically, I'm talking about procurement policies in Sri Lanka and why Sri Lankan companies get blocked out of that process. So this is anybody who is interested can actually look at this further. So in that context, what is the role of universities and the research institutes? Because university, we all know, like is a blend of like multidisciplinary talent in the form of staff members and also in the form of students. So what we can actually do is a lot of development, not only greenfield innovation, but a lot of things that has been done or improve. Optimization can be done by the universities. But the universities can do only up to a certain level. Somebody has to take over. And we have never thought about that part. Okay? That we have never thought about basically partnering with the private sector to do this. Okay? So this part actually is missing. And as a result, we are 40 years or 50 years behind other nations. Okay? And we think that the private sector actually is making money. So if they don't make money, we don't actually get our salaries paid, right? If the private sector doesn't work. We don't really appreciate that. Okay? We don't really appreciate that one, the taxes coming from the private sector and also from the public actually pays our salaries. And if the government does not facilitate, then the entire process cannot be done. So there is a full stop, complete full stop if that doesn't happen. And the role of universities, so in this particular case, and the research institute is basically to identify the problems, to support the private sector in the development of those one, or to expedite those whenever they get stuck due to the lack of equipment or lack of expertise, and we can actually always contribute in different ways to basically allow them to pass through that difficult process. So the key consideration for the source is basically the gap. As I said, like I saw the product life cycle, what we do at the university is actually only first 3 stages. There are 5 or like 5-6 stages actually more. And if you don't bridge that gap, you will not see your washing machine or equivalent of that one in the shelf. Okay? And that will be still under development. Okay? So it's important to understand the time taken and the effort taken and the investment required to bring a product to the market, which we do not actually really appreciate as such. So what do we need? Like what the typical market expectation? When you get your smartphone, when you get your laptop, what is your expectation? Your expectation is every time you open the laptop, it works. Every time you use your smartphone, it works. So how do you achieve that reliability? How do you achieve that robustness? And that requires a lot of testing, a lot of certifications. Every electronic product that goes to the market need to go through like at least 5, 6, 7, and sometimes there may be 10 certifications. And that costs money, and that costs time. So we do not actually understand, unfortunately, even the engineering faculties do not understand this whole process that requires certification, because forget about the exporting if you don't actually go through this process. The non-certified product can never go to outside Sri Lanka. Okay? Simple as that. When you actually talk about the transferring the technology that developed to outside, our domain, unfortunately, is something that takes a lot of time. But compared to, for example, I think everybody has heard about this particular product from University of Colombo called BioClean, and which actually went to actually private sector very, very quickly. That process actually was not so difficult, but because they were ready to in that sense. So this is something that we ought to do as government agencies or research institutes or universities. Develop something to a level and then transfer that technology to the private sector so that they can actually develop that further and bring that product or service to the public. So these barriers that we have actually in that development, obviously human resources, the financial resources, and the competing products. As I said, the initial product validation part. I mean, have we identified there are competing products? Can we compete with them? Can we be cost effective compared to them? All those things need to be looked at properly, and how much time will be taken for the development. I know certain products or certain development projects or product development projects have been going for 10 years, okay, without any success. And the reason for is basically for multiple reasons: not understanding the market, not understanding the actual time it is taken to develop that process. So actually my time is up. Quickly finish. So the role of the universities, as I mentioned, is that facilitation part. Sorry. So because of the multidisciplinary talent available in the universities, so we need to tap these resources. And what we are doing is we are just producing graduates. And the industry is not tapping. Maybe by way of consultancies, they do to a certain extent, but consultancies are only very minimal. But what we need to really tap these resources for product development that ultimately benefits the entire nation, and also students. You all know like the filtering process that we have in bringing the students to the universities, and we have top talent, and we are not actually making use of that talent in Sri Lanka. And when it comes to to transfer that, whatever you develop basically ultimately need to transfer So the research institutes like the Clarke Center is what needs to be done. Again, it's very similar to what we do at universities, but I think is one step ahead in certain cases, because you have a lot of equipment and a lot of actually expertise in certain areas. So if you can facilitate, I mean, you can develop actually your own products as well, and but don't actually develop in the hope of actually exporting by yourself. That is not your business. That is not your core area. And the government agencies are there to develop a technology and basically transfer, because we talk about technology transfer, and that is how the world actually goes about in transferring the technology to the outside. And in particular, the co-creation mindset. We work with silos. We don't really collaborate. We don't collaborate, and we believe that our idea will be stolen by someone. And that's a very common misconception, mindset that we have in Sri Lanka. Somebody will steal our idea. Ideas are very, very cheap today, extremely cheap today. Okay, and people think, okay, my idea will be stolen. Okay, the most difficult part is realization of that idea into a physical product, which takes long time. And so don't be afraid to discuss your ideas. And unless it is a very simple thing that anybody can do, obviously someone will copy. But I'm talking about the real product development. And you need to do that quickly as well. So this co-creation mindset actually is something very important. When I say co-creation, is you're actually helping the industry to develop the products and ultimately take them to the market. And the technology transfer one, as I said, basically is developing something at the universities or research institutes up to a certain level, and then transferring that technology to the outside, or what called licensing process. And so when you do that, one very important thing, let me skip in the interest of time, there is something referred to as, there are three parties involved: the industry partner, who will be ultimately the licensee of the technology, and the institute, and also the technology transfer officer of that institute, who will be transferring that technology to the outside. And the most important, the criteria for this process is, what is the risk factor? You develop something at the university, you develop something at the, let's say, the ACCIMT, and what is the risk to the industry? Because, as I said, that life cycle is very long. And who will take the risk of actually developing this fund, spending a lot of money, a lot of time? And so this de-risking part, or what we call basically like, can we transfer the risk to the industry, and can we minimize that risk? And that process, so this is the success criteria is basically the sorry. Yeah. So this de-risking part is how can we minimize the risk to the industry, and we call something called technology readiness level. And this is again something that some of you might have not heard before. Yeah, so this is a global standard originally developed at NASA, and this gives you 9 levels where exactly is your product. Okay, whether it is something actually is a concept stage, or whether it is something that is ready to market. And the ready to market actually is in the stage 9. And most of the things that we do at the universities or research institutes is basically we are stopping at maybe 4, 5, 6 maximum. And 7, 8, 9 can never be done actually at a university. It's kind of impossible. Okay, kind of impossible, because this is something that you do at the private sector. So, but if the universities and the research institutes can develop a technology up to, let's say, about 6 or 7 or 6, and that is minimizing the risk to the industry, because at least they have actually come to that level. And the remaining part is more like validation, or the real world validation of whether the product actually works in real world environment, is the 7, 8, 9. So if we have this understanding and start developing or start identifying what product to develop first, and develop certain technologies as a co-creation actually mindset with the universities and the research institutes working together with the private sector, and that will be the best way forward for Sri Lanka. Sorry, the last slide. So the only way that we can actually move forward in this country is not actually working in silos as such, but to have this mindset that the country can only benefit or go forward when the public sector facilitates, and the government agencies, the research institutes, the universities facilitate or contribute to that product development. And one of the best model actually is, I don't know what the exact status now, is a slim tech model, which the private sector actually contributed in certain way. The government actually put the capital. It is producing certain things, but may not be the current status may not be the best of the possible status, but something of a public-private partnership. I think that's my final concluding thought, that we cannot as a country move forward without that partnership. And as you would have actually seen in the latest reports, government is actually coming up with a Public-Private Partnership Act. And this act need to be even further refined and promoted in order to make sure that it really works in the Sri Lankan context as such. So with that thought, may I actually request particularly the Clarke Center or all the institutes under the Ministry of Science and Technology to look at the problem solving in a kind of different way. And when you start something, please carefully look at whether you are actually picking the right problem to actually solve. And there are multiple projects that I have seen actually in the past where somebody just come with a problem, and the institute actually spend a lot of money without even understanding the market requirement for that product. So it's a huge waste of public money. And if we can do that, I think we will actually see a different country in 10 years' time. Thank you very much. I'll take a bit more time.
Thank you, sir, and please remain for a stage for a while. So we are pleased to offer a token of appreciation to recognize our keynote speaker for his time, support and presence with us. I would kindly invite Professor Chandana Jayaratne, Chairman of Accimt, to present the token of appreciation to Dr. Ajit Pascual. We are now honored to invite Mr. Mohammed Nawawi, Secretary to the Ministry of Science and Technology, to deliver his address. Invitation is for you, sir.
ගෞරවනීය මහා සංඝරත්නයන් අවසරයි. The Honorable Minister of Science and Technology, Professor Krishanth Abesena, Chairman and members of Governing Council of Arthur C Clarke Institute, distinguished academics, industry leaders, esteemed guests, students, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon to you all. It's a true privilege to stand here today, not just to open National Science Week, but to celebrate a monumental milestone, the Ruby Jubilee, 40 years of dedicated service to the nation by Arthur C Clarke Institute of Modern Technology. 40 years is a remarkable journey of commitment, vision and progress. It speaks to the Institute's enduring value in steering Sri Lanka toward a technology-advanced future. The Institute carries the name of one of the greatest visionaries of our time, Sir Arthur C Clarke. He taught that the only way to discover the limits of the possible is to go beyond them into impossible. For 4 decades, ACCIMNT has embodied this spirit. It has been the vital link between complex scientific theory and practical national development, from pioneering work in space technology, satellite communication, to advancing electronics, IT, and remote sensing. ACCIMT has served as Sri Lanka's launchpad for exploration and technological self-reliance. As a ministry overseeing this critical institution, we recognize that the work done here, the research, the capacity building, and the fostering of high-end skills is essential to creating a robust knowledge-based economy. Today's inauguration is especially significant because we pair this great anniversary with the launch of National Science Week. This week is a national commitment. It is our opportunity to demonstrate science, to ignite the spark of curiosity in every child. And it showcases how science and technology are not just academic subjects, but the powerful tools that shape our daily lives and our future prosperity. We need more inventors, more engineers, and more problem solvers. We need young people who look at national challenge, whether in agriculture, energy, or connectivity, and see not a problem but a compelling reason to innovate. I call upon all our partners, educators, and industry leaders to engage deeply this week. 5 days, that means our Science Week program, a national movement to foster a culture of inquiry, critical thinking, and technological adoption. To the staff and leadership of ACCIMT, thank you for 40 years of extraordinary dedication. May your next chapter be even more visionary. Let us now continue to build a future worthy of Sir Arthur C Clarke's audacious visions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, and please remain for a while. So we are pleased to offer a token of appreciation to the recognized Secretary to the Ministry of Science and Technology for his presence with us. And I would like to kindly invite Professor Chandana Jayaratne, Chairman of Arthur C Clarke Institute, to present the token of appreciation. Thank you, sir, and please remain for a while again. So we are moved to awarding this special recognition for the ACCIMT's staff for their dedicated service. And may I now invite Mrs. Chaturi Seneviratne, representing the Board of Governors, to join the stage, accompanied with Katubedda Jayawardena, Deputy Director General, Technical Operations. So first, the special recognition will go to the Communication Division for the 3 categories. Mr. Samantha Pushpakumara represents the team members of Advanced Hardware Recovery team of consisting of 12 members. Mr. Samantha Pushpakumara for Agrometeorology Weather Station Development Team consisting of 14 members, and Mr. Katubedda Jayawardena representing Tactical Drone Development Team of Aerospace Laboratory of Communication Division consisting of 11 team members. Mr. Katubedda Jayawardena. Next, the recognition goes to the Electronic Division, and it's under again 3 categories. Mr. PMTR Vijay Bandara represents the team members of Elamware Development Team in Electronic Division consisting of 5 members. Mr. JPDS Athuralia representing team members of Highest Income Generating Through Consultancy Services Team consisting of 5 team members. And Mrs. JPDS Athuralia representing the team members of Highest Income Generating Through Test and Measurement Services. Next, for the Astronomy Division, certificate goes to Mr. Saraj Gunasekara, and recognition for his dedicated service as the officer in charge of Sri Lanka's largest telescope. Mr. Indika Madagangoda, in recognition of his leadership as the coordinator of APRSAF activities and introducing water rocket program to Sri Lanka. And Mr. Theekshana Priyadasa and Mr. Kamal Pereira, Mr. Saraj Gunasekara and Mr. Indika Madagangoda for popularization of science through astronomy. Next, for the Space Application Division, In recognition of the team's exceptional commitment to advance in knowledge and practice through research, publication, lectures, consultancies, and training in the field of geospatial technologies, Mr. Mohammed Rila will represent the team members. For recognition, TN Land Mapping Project Team of Space Technology Application Division, Mr. Mahesh Chaturanga will represent the team members. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mrs. Chaturanga. And to move on award the same category, this invitation is for Professor Dhammika Tantrigoda, accompanied by Mr. Nalin Karunasinghe and Mrs. Janaki Athuraliya, the head of the division, Electronic Division, to award the certificates for the special recognition for the divisional dedicated services. The first certificate goes to Information Technology Division, introducing local language computer application receiving information for the Technology Division. Certificate goes to Mr. Rohana Dasanayaka. And contribution to research and development projects in information technology consists in 10 group members. Mrs. Thilani Mudilagi will receive the certificates on behalf of the team. For Industrial Service Division, recognition goes for team's exceptional dedication and contribution to advance in knowledge and excellence in the area of industrial automation, electrical and electronics through research, innovation and publications, and hardware recovery, and provisions of test and calibration services. Mr. S.K. Vijitananda will represent the team members. In recognition of outstanding people management fostering organizational growth, the certificate goes to Human Resource Division, and Mrs. G.H.C. Jairani will receive on behalf of the Human Resource Management team. In recognition of exceptional financial stewardship and commitment to transparency, efficiency, and organizational excellence, next certificate goes to Finance team, and Mr. Arosha Pereira will receive the certificates on behalf of the team. In recognition of creative excellence and promoting the organization's vision and values, the certificate goes to Media Division, and Mr. Chintana Vijayvardhana will receive on behalf of the Media Division. In recognition of unwavering dedication to integrity, accountability, and governance strength in the institutional trust, next certificate goes to Mr. Janaka Ratnayaka, representing the Audit Division. In recognition of excellent administrative leadership in achieving organizational objective, then next certificate goes to the Administration Division, and Mr. Gamini Ratnayaka will receive on behalf of the team. For Technology Transfer Division, the certificate goes under two categories. Mr. Parakram Ruchinarath, representing the team members for recognition of technology promotional and negotiations with the industry. And Mr. Parakram Ruchinarath again will receive the certificates for the lead role in technical conferences in ACCMT. Thank you for Professor Dhammika Tantrigoda and Mr. Nalin Karunasinghe and Mrs. Janaki Athuraliya. To celebrate the spirit of this Ruby Jubilee, we now present a delightful cultural performance.
අලංකාර හිත සතුවී නරවර සයංජාත හැල්ගෙන ගොඩ කර සුදම් දීවිය යක්විය හැමවාර ගොයාම් සැදුණු සැටි හසනුය විස්තර කියන තන තන නොසිතිල්ලා අපසුනම් සෙවනේ හිඳ පල්ලා පසනම් දියවර දී පල්ලා කපගොයම් කඩිනම් කර පල්ලා කපගොයම් කඩිනම් කර පල්ලා අවුව බොහොම සැරත් මාගේ අපට ඇඹුල ගෙනත් මාගේ මට කීනි දැන් වැඩිත් මාගේ උඩට යන්න සිතන් සතුටු වුණා වෙනක තෙනානේ නගතන් වෙනක තෙනානේ නගතන් තෙනාකතානි වෙනක තෙනානේ නගතන් තෙනාකතානි වෙනක තෙනම් 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 වෙනක තෙනම් 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 වෙනක තෙනානේ නගතන් තෙනාකතානි වෙනක තෙනානේ නගතන් තෙනාකතානි වෙනක තෙනම් 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 වෙනක තෙනම් තෙනම්
So we are moving again to the felicitation of the staff of the Accimt, and we are now going to felicitation long-term staff of the Accimt. To present the awards and certificates, I respectfully invite Additional Secretary Mahesh Gammampila, accompanied by Professor Ilumi Heva Junige, representing all the institute under the Ministry of Science and Technology, and Mrs. Jayarani, representing the Accimt. So we now honor our long-serving staff members who have devoted over 30 years for their dedicated service to the Institute, a remarkable journey of commitment and contribution, and the certificate goes to Mrs. G.S.G. Jarani for 34 years. N.D.N. Kumara, Mr. R.S.S. Gunasekara. We also take great pride in recognition our staff members who have completed over 25 years of lawyer service to the Arthur C Clarke Institute for Modern Technologies. So certificate goes L.R.N. Somathilaka, B.A. Jayasinghe, T.C. Pires, J.K. Jayawardena, S.W.C.K. Vijayawardena, D.V.N. Silva, J.K.S. Pereira, S.A.A. Sirivardhana, N.I. Madagangoda, N.M. Kandambi, N.P. Kadapayarachi, R.M.L.N. Ratnayaka, M.L.N. Pushparani, J.P.D.A. Saturalia. thank you all to join with the felicitation forwarding the long-serving staff. So here's a short video highlighting the hard work, unity and success of the Accimt before moving to the next. Thank you for watching, and it's now my great pleasure to invite our chief guest. Professor Krishanta Abesena is a leading public health academic with degrees in MBBS, medical doctorate, MA's community medicine, plus postgraduate qualification is international relations and Buddhist studies. He began as a medical officer, then joined the University of California, becoming a board-certified specialist in 2003 and professor in 2010. He held Emirates Professorship, Contribution to Public Health and Medical Education. Professor Krishanta Abesena, Honorable Minister of Science and Technology, is currently holding Chair, Committee in Ethics and Privileges, Co-Chair, Causes of the Open Parliament Innovative 10th Parliament, and he is a fellow with 30 years of experience and champions evidence-based policy making and health improvement system. So the invitation is for you to deliver your address.
Good afternoon. Venerable Homagama Dharmaloka Thera, Vice Chancellor of the Buddhist and Pali University, Chairperson, DG, and other staff members of the Arthur C Clarke Institute for Modern Technology, distinguished guests, members of the academic and scientific community, respected officials, students, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me immense pleasure to join you today as the chief guest at this momentous occasion, the Ruby Jubilee celebrations of the Arthur C Clarke Institute of Modern Technologies, making 40 years of dedicated service to our nation. For 4 decades, the Arthur C Clarke Institute has stood as a beacon of innovation, introducing, nurturing, and accelerating modern technology applications in areas such as space technology, electronics, robotics, communications, and information technology. I wish to commend the leadership and the committed team of scientists, engineers, and staff who have carried forward the legacy of this institution. Your efforts in serving the Sri Lankan industry through technological applications, consultant services, training programs, and science popularization initiatives have contributed immensely to building a scientific culture across our society, especially by inspiring young minds in schools. As we celebrate 40 years of achievement, we must also look forward. The challenges before us are greater, but so too are the opportunities. The Science and Technology Ministry took the firm decision to support Arthur C Clarke Institute for Modern Technologies as an independent research and development institute in future, also under the current administration structure. The current government's vision, as set out in the Science and Technology Manifesto, is clear: to build an innovation and invention-driven research and development ecosystem that will lead our country toward economic prosperity, social well-being, and environmental sustainability. To achieve this, we have identified several key priorities: increase R&D funding, independent and transparent mechanisms, strategic focus on 6 priority sectors: digital transformation, artificial intelligence, human capital development, stronger collaboration between industry and academia, intellectual property protection, renewable energy, and climate technology, using science and technology to power a sustainable and resilient Sri Lanka. Institutions like Arthur C Clarke Institute for Modern Technologies can continue to play a pivotal role in realizing the government's vision of a knowledge-based and innovation-led economy. Your expertise in modern technologies, your close collaboration with industry, and your strong outreach to the education sector make this institute as a key partner in driving national transformation. In line with President's and the government's vision, the Ministry of Science and Technology has recently launched a comprehensive initiative to identify and prioritize national research requirements across key sectors of our economy. This initiative aims to ensure that public investment in research and development directly addresses the present challenges faced by our people and contributes to sustainable national growth. So, we already started discussions with the agriculture sector, plantation sector, fisheries sector, university medical faculties, health sector, atomic energy sectors, etc. As we celebrate this Ruby Jubilee, I invite all scientists, engineers, academics, and innovators to join hands with the Ministry of Science and Technology in this national mission. Together, let us ensure that the next 40 years of the academy of the Arthur C Clarke Institute and Sri Lankan science are defined not only by discovery but by impact. Together, through science and technology, we will build a brighter, more prosperous and sustainable Sri Lanka. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, and please remain for the stage for a while. So we are pleased to offer token of appreciation to recognize Honorable Minister, Science and Technology, Professor Krishanta Abesinghe, for his valuable presence with us. I would kindly invite Professor Chandana Jayaratne, Chairman of Accimt, to present the token of appreciation. So now, since we are moving to the felicitation of exceptional achievers of Accimt, we are invite the Honorable Minister to remain on stage for a while, and I would like to invite Professor Chandana Jayaratne, accompanied by Mrs. Kumari Megahakotuwa, to award the exceptional achievers in the Accimt. To begin with the awarding session, the first recognition goes to the dedicated team members of our Nano Satellite project, whose work has elevated Sri Lanka's presence in space, technology and innovation. So the recognition goes to the team: Engineer P.S. Panavannage, Engineer K. Ediriveera, Engineer J.K. Jayawardena, Engineer M.T.L. Daratna, Engineer R.A.D.K. Sampath, Scientist PMTR Vijay Bandara, Engineer J. Mudita Gayan, and Engineer W.D. Chamika, and invite the whole team to receive the recognition from the Minister. Thank you. Then we move to the recognizing those who have obtained patents for their outstanding research and innovation. The award goes to the team for their patent titled 2-root mains core voltage recorder with enhanced memory, patent number 18484. The team includes JPDS Athurelia, RMLN Ratnayaka, P. Mahadevan, NAN Redokshi, NKLTMS Dias, SP Panamedenia, and SRGS Bandara. Mrs. Janaki Athurelia will represent all the team members. Next, we felicitate our researchers who have obtained presidential awards. First, may I call upon those who have presidential awards for their meaningful research. Presidential award title, a phenomenological model for the light curving 3 quiescence low inclination dwarf nova and 1 pre-catalytic variable in 2018 for Mr. Indika Madagangada. And Presidential Award title, 2 temperate sub-Neptunes transit in the star epic 212-737-443 in 2019, Professor K.P.S. Chandana Jayaratne, Mr. Saraj Gunasekara and Mr. M.V.Y. Hera. Presidential Award title, follow-up ground-based observation of the dwarf nova KS10 in 2020, Mr. Indika Madagangada.
Next, we felicitate our researchers whose indexed scientific publications have brought international recognition to Arthur C Clarke Institute for Modern Technologies. In first place, we would like to honor Mrs. Umeshika Fonseca for publishing 5 impactful research papers in reputed international journals. Secondly, we recognize the following researchers who have published 3 research publications contributing to the advancement of modern technologies, Mr. Saraj Gunasekara and Mr. Indika Madagangada. Next, we recognize the researcher who has published 2 research papers publications contributing to the advancement of modern technologies, Mr. Karindu Dayaratne. Finally, we would like to recognize the following researchers for their contributions through the research publications in the field of modern technologies, Mrs. Nilushika Jayawardena and Mr. Mahesh Chaturanga.
Thank you all for joining with the felicitation. Now it's time for a special appreciation, and for that I would like to invite our Director General and CEO, Mrs. Kumari Megahapatwa, to deliver her address and also announce the special announcement.
Thank you, Umeshika. In recognition of his distinguished leadership, visionary service, and invaluable contributions over 30 years to the ACCIMT, serving with excellence in multiple capacities as Principal Research Scientist, Member of the Board of Governance, and presently as the Chairman of the Governing Board of ACCIMT. His pioneering efforts in promoting astronomy, space science, and STEM education have empowered countless students and strengthened Sri Lanka's presence in the global scientific arena. On behalf of all of the members of ACCIMT, I now respectfully invite Professor Chandana Jayaratne to receive this distinguished award from the Honorable Minister of Science and Technology.
Thank you, and to express our gratitude to all who had made this event possible, I invite Engineer Katubedda Jayawardena, Deputy Director General, Technical Operations, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Good evening. Delivered on behalf of the Arthur C Clarke Institute for Modern Technologies on the occasion of the Ruby Jubilee exhibition and open day held in line with the 40th anniversary and National Science Week celebrations. It is my great honor to deliver the vote of thanks on behalf of all those who contributed in various ways to the success of this event. First and foremost, I wish to express our deep gratitude and sincere appreciation to the Honorable Minister, Professor Krishantha Abesena, for his valuable guidance, patronage, and blessings extended to make the occasion a success. We also wish to acknowledge with heartfelt appreciation the support extended by the Secretary of the Ministry of Science and Technology, Mr. Mohammad Nawabi, the Ministry staff, and the Minister's Office, whose coordination and assistance were instrumental in making this event possible. Our special thanks are extended to all distinguished guests representing the Ministry of Science and Technology affiliated institutions, universities, and other organizations who accepted our invitation and joined us today. We also take this opportunity to convey our gratitude to the members of the governing board of the Arthur C Clarke Institute for their continued guidance and encouragement. Our heartfelt thanks goes to the Senior Lecturer Dr. Ajit Pascual of the University of Moratuwa for delivering today's keynote address and for his invaluable contribution to the proceedings. We are equally grateful to the representatives of the institutions, companies, and industrial professionals who accepted our invitation and joined us on the opening day of the exhibition. Your presence and contribution added great value to this event. A special word of appreciation is due to our chairman, Professor Chandana Jayaratne, who first proposed the idea of organizing this exhibition and continuously guided and supported us throughout every stage. His leadership and his vision made this event a reality. We also extend our sincere thanks to our Director General, Mrs. Kumari Megahakotuwa, for her dedicated leadership, tireless effort, and commitment, working around the clock to ensure the success of this exhibition and open day. We gratefully acknowledge the school and university innovators, along with their teachers, parents, and mentors who presented their creative work at this exhibition. We assure them that the Institute will continue to extend its fullest support for their future innovations. Our appreciation also goes to the panel of judges who served with dedication in evaluating the exhibits. A special note of thanks is extended to all visitors, including students, teachers, parents, and general public. for their enthusiastic participation and support. We also express our deep appreciation to the technical, administrative, and supporting staff of the Arthur C Clarke Institute for Modern Technologies, who worked tirelessly over the past several weeks to organize this event a successful one. Our sincere gratitude is also extended to the security and housekeeping divisions, whose members went beyond their regular duties to provide their fullest cooperation during this event. We also thank external service providers and contractors who assisted in the construction, maintenance, and logistic arrangements of the exhibition area, ensuring all facilities were completed on time. In addition, we acknowledge with appreciation the suppliers and partners who provided the exhibition booths, digital displays, and other necessary materials. Finally, to all others whose names could not be mentioned individually, but who contributed in various ways to the success of this exhibition, we extend our heartfelt thanks and sincere apologies for any unintentional omissions. With deep appreciation to everyone gathered here today, I conclude this vote of thanks on behalf of the Arthur C Clarke Institute for Modern Technologies. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So, ladies and gentlemen, this concludes the formal proceedings of our Ruby Jubilee inauguration ceremony. We are pleased to inform that all the refreshments for the invited dignitaries and VIP guests will be served at the designated area, and the area will be directed by our staff members. ACCMT staff members will be provided refreshment at your divisional premises. So after the refreshments, you all are invited to exhibition showcasing. Thank you for joining.